Welcome to Talk Birdie To Me. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Mark Allen, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy is the #1 shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Okie doke, folks. Well, if you're listening in the car or at home and you aren't on YouTube, well, it's going to be exactly the same podcast. But if you're listening to YouTube or if you're watching YouTube, we are away, and a big hello to you, Nicholas. I'm glad you've got back from Mount Lawley okay.
I did. Thank you very much. Got in late last night, and this is exciting, being on camera.
Yeah, well, it's a new age for Talk Birdie To Me, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I want to know more about Mount Lawley, because we know OCM have got their hands on it. It was a nice little golf club. You grew up there. What have they done? What do you think of the changes?
It has been OCM'd.
Has it?
And I mean that in a very, very good way. It's stunning. It really is. They've well, you know what they do with their golf courses, where they fix all the bunkering, the greens. They do have a different strain. It's not the pure distinction. I think it's called the 007.
Yes, that's supposed to be better. Right? That's supposed to be better than pure distinction.
Yeah, well, my brother Troy is the general manager there, and parents are members there. We've been members there forever. He went through a pretty laborious process to figure out, okay, what's the right grass. Yeah. He was in conjunction with his greenkeeper, Rod Tat, who I actually played golf with the other day on Friday. And
did you take your clubs over?
I didn't. No, I had to borrow a members.
Set of clubs, did you?
So I borrowed a members set, and they're actually Titleist clubs. So I felt like I was cheating on Ping, but that's okay. Did have the Vokey wedges though, and I used my mum's putter, which is a Ping putter, and it was so much fun. Basically, what they've done is they've just reworked all the greens and the bunkering. There's, layout's pretty much the same.
So a facelift.
Yeah, exactly. Very much. And they've gone full bore on it as well. But they've switched the nines. So the first is now the 10th, 10th is now the first. And I don't know if you've seen it on the socials, but the 9th green now has like a rise at the back, and then it goes into a putting green. So it's all one green.
They're doing that at Huntingdale as well.
Yeah,
it's
so
fantastic.
good.
I love that sort of stuff.
So good. And the practice area and everything, they're going to get a facelift pretty soon as well. They're going to put an academy in there with all the technology.
Beauty.
I believe I was talking to Troy. We did a big function the other night with Jordan Dool and Catherine Norris, and which was a lot of fun. Yeah. So W Open later this year.
That's good.
And I said to Troy,
is that men's and women's, or is that just men's still?
That's a good question. I think it's
just men's.
Yeah, but they do get some women playing. Like Kirsten, if she's around, she'll play. Hannah, if she's here, obviously. Good. Catherine will probably play. But I said this would be perfect for the Australian Women's Open. Australian Women's Open.
So
and
most
Troy
people have
and my brother.
Most people have their money on that going to Lake Herrenhup. But you're saying this is perfect home.
This is perfect. And Troy, my brother, he said we'd love it here. So to Golf Australia, if you want to go have a look at it, it's definitely worth a look. James,
are you listening? We'll be talking about you a little bit later, James. I hope you're listening because if you've given it the tick off, it sounds like it's going to be magnificent. Everything they've touched, OCM, has turned to gold.
So good.
Absolute gold. Well, let's get into it with LIV Adelaide. Over 100,000 people through the gates in those 3 days. On TV, looked unbelievable. Joaquín, Niemann. How about two former Australian Open champs back in Adelaide, fighting it out with Abraham Answer as well as Joaquín Niemann. It looked great on the telly. The people who go through the gates, I know about 10 who have made contact with me. And I keep on telling people, this is not to believe me, they're not saying it's the best golf event they've ever been to. They're saying it's the best sporting event that they've ever been to. Now that just blows me away. I mean, when you watch it on the TV and it's going back to the old day of the Australian Masters when it was 5 or 6 deep when Greg Norman was hitting off the first hole all the way around with Nick Faldo. That's what it looked like. The main groups, the groups and the Aussies, who were very well supported, it was literally 5 deep surrounding each hole. Now, you know what that tells me? It tells me that we are that starved of really big name players playing. And I know a lot of them are on the wrong side of the bell curve, like Ian Poulter and, Wolfie's not going so well, and the bloke who Mel Baker caddies for, the Gooch.
Taylor Gooch.
The Taylor Gooch, he's not playing so well anymore. But apart from, some of the players that have fallen off a little bit, there are some, every single player seems to have a bit of a story about them. They go to the next group. Here's Henrik Stenson. He beat Phil Mickelson shooting one of the lowest rounds of all time at the British Open. Then you got DJ, you got Bryson, you got all these guys that get people through the gate. Surprisingly, Nick, the ratings weren't as good as the Australian Open ratings on the Saturday. Yeah, someone sent me this.
Well, having a look at the tournament, I was there a few years ago doing radio. The first year it was there.
Yeah, you were doing that for SEN, weren't you?
For SEN, crowds were huge. I mean, massive. And last year the same thing. This year when I turned on the TV, again, huge. Yeah. The one thing I will say on the ground, it's an amazing event. It really is.
Yeah.
The music is there all the time.
How loud is it on course?
It's pretty loud.
Like nightclub loud?
Not quite that loud, but as you're walking around beforehand, before play starts, it is loud. Yeah. And then when play does start, well, then they tone it down, but it's still there. Day one, did you see the Patrick Reed made the hole out?
That went around the world.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Yeah.
No wonder he played bad. He was drenched.
Yeah.
He was absolutely... I think he bogeyed his first 2 holes too. He goes, bogey, the worst start he could ever have.
Really?
Then has a hole he won, then gets drenched.
Oh,
Ended up shooting. I think he shot a couple over the first 2 days.
I turned the TV on. First shot I saw was Patrick Reed having a hole in one.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Seriously? This is it? Okay. Knew it wasn't going to happen again after that. But on the ground, I think if you're there, it's incredible. But to watch on TV, and, we've spoken about this, obviously, in past episodes, I try and watch it for a period, and I last about 5 or 10 minutes, and then it gets a bit much for me. Yeah. So that's just me. It's my,
Well, it's interesting you're saying that, because later in the week, we've actually got the Vice President of production of LIV Golf, James Watson's going to be coming in.
Cool.
Now, they've done a lot of stuff. The big long scoreboard on the left is now copied wherever you go. Some of the drone shots have been copied now wherever you go. The PGA Tour have taken it to another level, as far as I'm concerned, when they've got TrackMan, where they've got the shot tracer line in the background. It really brings golf alive. Once upon a time there was a cherry picker. The Australian Masters, they had about 4 cherry pickers. That was considered elite.
Paddy Welsh used to be up there,
Paddy Welsh
right?
could go up there. That's exactly right. But these days, what they're doing in broadcast is bringing these tournaments alive. But this is the thing. Now, this was sent to me. Hey, Marco, really interesting story developing with LIV TV ratings here. Now, it says, when you compare Saturday free-to-air average audience numbers, the Australian Open at Kingston Heath, 180,000, LIV with only 134,000 on the Saturday. So there's the 2 Saturdays confirmed.
Wow.
Now, they made a bit of a comeback. So it got back to me because I said, listen, tell me about Sunday because, it's really important. And I felt like I didn't really know where to look. I didn't know whether it was on 7 Plus or it actually was on the main channel.
It was. Yeah,
it was on the main channel.
On Channel 7.
So I don't think enough people knew. Anyway, by Sunday, Marco, ratings bounced back from Saturday's number of 134,000 with 225,000 average audience for LIV Adelaide. It's down 17K from 2024. Reach was steady to year, only 60K declined yesterday, which is minimal. That's really, really small. Important to note, final round of the Australian Open in 2024 had an average audience of 212K on 9. 13K less than LIV's average yesterday, but the Australian Open was on Fox Sports as well. Mm-hmm. So he goes on to say, basically, they rated the same.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah, they rate the same.
Interesting, because you watch when you do turn it on, the amount of people there, you think, well, this has got to be rating incredibly on TV. But maybe that had to do with the fact Ripper, weren't in contention this year. They won last year.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, where they finished midfield.
They were well back.
Well back. So it tells me that people watch golf, but if you want people through the gates, you've got to get top 20 players. You've got to get a stack of them. President's Cup sells out like that. The World Cup sells out like that, basically. LIV Golf, even though I would say half of their players are over the hill or, how can I say it? Over the hill.
Past their prime.
On the wrong side of the bell curve in their careers. It doesn't matter. They're big name players.
They got the names, yeah.
They're big name players.
You're going to go watch Phil, aren't you?
You're going to go watch Phil Mickelson.
Absolutely.
You're going to go watch Henrik Stenson. You're going to go along and boo Patrick Reed, even if he makes a hole in one. There is reason to go through the gates to see. And when you see a tournament, so this is what we're talking about with Golf Australia. When you see a tournament like looking like that on the TV, that's what makes people want to go and play golf. When Greg Norman was pumping it as world number one in the 90s, the waiting lists in the Sandbelt and other golf courses in Victoria were 14 years. It was a 14-year wait to get into Huntingdale.
Wow.
It was a 14-year, like that. There were 10-year waits to get in golf clubs. It's because the crowds and the shark helped make it look exciting. And I think if we can get the Australian Open, this is why I keep on saying it, and honestly, if we don't do it now, particularly when, and did you see this, where Donald Trump is now in the middle of Yasser and Jay Monahan trying to get everybody back together.
Yeah.
Did you see what Tiger had to say on the broadcast?
I watched. I was watching the end of Tory and saw he came on and had a quick listen. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get it for you.
Sounds as though they're closer than ever.
Well,
basically,
this is what he had to say.
Okay.
Bear with me. Jim Nance and Trevor Immelman of CBS Sports asked Woods about the reunification and the state of men's professional golf, and he gave an insightful answer. I think we're in a very positive place right now, Woods said. We had a meeting with the president. Unfortunately, I had some circumstances come up. That was his mother dying. But Jay Monahan, get ready for the Australian link, and Adam Scott, they did a great job during the meeting. We have another meeting coming up. I think things are going to heal quickly. We are getting this game going in the right direction. It's been headed in the wrong direction for a number of years. That's a big thing to say. The fans want all of us to play together, and so do we.
Yeah.
All the top players to play together, and we're going to make that happen. There's no wishy-washy talk there, is there?
And but the Australian Open needs to be a part of all this at the same time. I saw something on social media, the No Laying Up guys, right?
Yeah.
Who do a really good podcast in the States.
Too.
And they were saying the Australian Open must become a signature event. Make it a $30 million event.
$30 million? That's not Australian pesos.
No, that's incredible.
That's $30 million US dollars. And what did he say? He said, you watch them, they'll all go.
Oh, well, we've got the Australian Open apparently this year at Royal Melbourne.
Yes.
Composite, hopefully.
Apparently.
If they came...
You know Joaquín Niemann let it slip?
What did he say?
He said it's going to be at Royal Melbourne.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
oh, good.
He
Okay.
he actually said it live on air, Dad. He was, and apparently the communications on the new CEO.
Oh, Scott O'Neill. Yeah.
Scott O'Neill.
Yeah.
He actually said, "Yeah, we're going to talk to Joaquín about that because he's clearly given it away." So they're actually there telling LIV players, "We want you back.
Yeah.
We want you to come back and play in the Australian Open." But it's a long trip. People don't understand that. These golfers at that time of the year, Nick, you know better than anybody.
Yeah.
How buggered were you at the end of the season?
Yeah, but as you say, the time of the year, February, around this LIV Adelaide event, that would be ideal, as you've been saying all along. But this year, it's going to be probably first week of December, I'm guessing, or late last week of November.
Well, they just announced the dates for the Australian PGA,
yes,
which was the last week of November.
So it'll be the week after, I'm guessing.
Well, I think the last full week of November.
Yes, no, that's true. But did you say something, a friend of yours who's a caddy, a source, told you something at LIV? What's going on there?
I wasn't going to go with this, Nick. Good on you.
Oh, you weren't? Oh, okay. Sorry.
I wasn't.
All right.
It's nice of you, but I will now.
Well,
Well, we think Elvis Presley is a rising star of Australian
Elvis
golf.
Presley?
Excuse me.
Elvis Presley.
February, March.
Do not do that.
Sorry. Elvis Smiley.
There you go.
Elvis Smiley. We think he's an up-and-comer. He's the defending Australian PGA champion. He is a DP World member thanks to that win. Well, there was a caddy who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's all you told me. You said there was a possible name hanging around, and
He was seen. Elvis was seen speaking with a number of big, what do you call them, clubs? They play for
teams.
LIV? Teams.
Yeah, teams.
He was speaking with teams,
Wow.
the big bosses of those teams.
Interesting.
Now,
Okay.
if you are going to jump and get a big check, right? If you're going to do it, when you've got Donald Trump in the between Yasser and Jay Monahan and Tiger Woods, Nick, if they came to you
Mate.
and they said, Nick, we're going to give you $100 million and the time to jump is now, I'm telling you, Alana would hit you over the head with a frying pan if you didn't take that $100 million.
It was half of that.
All right, it's true, isn't it? You would get hit with a frying pan.
I've said all along, if you're at a certain point in your career, when LIV first came along, like Mark Leishman,
That's right.
no brainer. Why not?
No-brainer.
You passed it. Cam Smith really surprised me when
That
he did.
was a surpriser.
Now with everything going on, I mean, Tom McKibben just signed last week or week before.
I don't get McKibben. I get Cam Smith because of the money involved. They make it too hard to say no.
Yeah, but at the time, I mean, I remember him doing an interview a year before saying, "What am I going to do? Buy a bigger boat if I got more money?" So
Yeah, I saw that
obviously,
too.
it's a much bigger boat now. So, but good luck to him.
Yeah.
So anyway,
But if you're Elvis, I'll put you in the shoes.
Yeah, sure.
So you're Elvis.
Ooh.
You know Trumpy's there. You know Yasser's talking to Jay Monahan. You know Tiger Woods is talking, given those quotes that I just gave you. And they're offering you $100 million for 4 years. I'm going.
I guess the question
You've got to go.
Well, the other question you've got to say is, okay, if the tour and LIV get together and we get this world tour going, what happens to LIV Golf, the format that it's currently in? Because it's not going to be like that anymore, is it?
Yeah, well, that's where you need this. That's where you need Donald Trump. I keep on saying his name. I apologise for the Donald Trump people who don't like him too much. But if he's in the middle, he's missed the compromise. You'll say, listen, 14 events is too much. You'll say, cut it back to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it. He'll just get a deal done, and it'll work. I think it's the only way, Nick. You can't have 14 or 12 or however many they're having, and expect them to play a full season on the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour or wherever these other players are going to play.
Yeah. So you're saying they can play both, basically. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, well then
You haven't answered my question.
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's
If that's
no-brainer.
the case.
If that's the case.
If you can do what you want to do, DP World, like Elvis has full status
Yeah.
on the DP World Tour. I think he's in the, well, if he wins the Order of Merit here in Australasia, he gets into the Open and I believe the US Open.
Yeah.
So they're the big two carrots for him right now to play his way into.
So he'll be at New Zealand then in a couple of
So
weeks,
he's
no doubt.
more than likely playing New Zealand because he wants to lock up that number one spot. So, which it's going to be hard for anyone to overtake him at the moment anyway. I think Lucas Herbers is playing New Zealand as well because I think he wants that number one spot.
Yeah.
Because if he wins that, that's the big tournament on our schedule at the moment that's remaining.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to rocket him up because he's either third or fourth on the Order of Merit right now. So, yeah.
Remarkable. Anyway,
Interesting.
by the way, I almost had the biggest story of the year last week, but it's out. Because I have a friend who works in the North Adelaide Pro Shop. So we record on Tuesdays. Last Wednesday, I got a phone call from his dad, Richard Kerner, and Richard said, "You're not going to believe this, but the Shark and the Premier of South Australia turned up at North Adelaide Public Golf Course, which I think the Premier said is a goat track."
He came out on. I was watching the Today Show, I think, with Carl and those guys, and he's gone. Oh, by the way, it is a goat track.
Yeah. So they told the kids in the pro shop that they're going to turn this into the tournament venue for LIV, and the reason for that is apparently the members at the Grange are sick of it being scarred. It takes 2 months, so the grandstands take a couple of weeks to go down, and then it's 2 months from there. So every single year, the whole joint is scarred horribly.
Course looked great, by the way. Firm, fast, and what was the winning score? 13 under, and it's short. So
Yeah.
it goes to show you don't need length.
What about his last round, the 65? Bogey free.
Impressive.
Niemann. He's up and down in the last. Like he drove that par
How good was that bunker shot?
Oh, the bunker shot that landed
Up and over.
just on the upslope of the tier, and then just to get it rolling down. And you just saw, I think it was John Rahm. What do you do? 4-putt from the edge? He hit a drive.
Okay.
I think he 3-putted from 10 feet.
Oh wow.
So it was a bit of a mess.
It was lightning fast. Yeah, I heard North Adelaide is probably going to be ready by 2028. So the next two will probably be back at the Grange. And then what did they sign till 2031, I believe? LIV Adelaide?
Yeah, 2031.
So again, it depends on what format LIV takes if everything comes together.
Well, it's the Starship. It's the number one LIV event by a million miles. It's funny, the week before on the lights, the Saudi Arabia one is the one that they may well get rid of.
But nothing would have excited you more than watching your boy take down Torrey Pines.
Yes.
Redemption after being sick, what was it, about 3 weeks ago when he had a bit of a rough weekend?
We're talking about Ludvig Aberg. Just what a man.
Aberg, oh boy.
oh boy. You know, he had the birdie the last after birdieing 17. So he birdied 17 to Ty McNeil.
No, he birdied, what did he birdie?
3 in a row
13,
early.
14, 15, and then I think he parred 16, 17.
Parred 16, 17.
And birdied the last.
He had to birdie the last. He stood up there, had kind of one look down the fairway.
Boom.
Gets into his routine. It's seamless.
Never
that routine.
wavered.
Never wavered.
No.
And hit the longest drive of the day.
Yeah. You know, the fun thing as well, and probably goes to field sizes and 2 balls.
Yeah.
I think they played in around 4 hours.
Yeah, 2 balls are the way to go.
3 balls a few weeks earlier at the Torrey Pines, 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
So it comes down to size of field. They also had a cut. It was a signature event, but I think they cut to the top 50 for the weekend. So you can play 2 balls. I actually have a thing. I'm thinking for the tour going forward, any tour going forward, none of this top 70 cut anymore or top 65. Make it either top 50 or top 60. That way you can then have 2 balls off 1 tee on a weekend. And everyone loves to see that. And pace of play will improve.
Why can't they just hit off at dawn? I mean, if you know, my regular spot on the Sunday was first off, funnily enough. And
when you made it.
When I made it, yeah. Well, and the earlier the better as far as I was concerned. It was the best. I mean, I don't think players would mind.
No, not at all.
I mean, if I've played really badly, get me first off when the wind's not blowing so I can shoot something decent and move up.
Yeah, you can catch an early flight as well.
You get the early flight, you get all those things booked in, Nick. So it's a no-brainer. You just have to, you know, the tour organisers just said, don't worry about your big lunch. You get your poached eggs and your smashed avocado a little bit later. Just get these guys off and get them playing in twos. It's very, very simple. You go.
I was going to say his routine though. It's metronomic. Now, given this is a new show, we're in the Titleist simulator room here.
I'm going to have a go at it.
I think we need to do this. You need to show the people.
I'm going to have a go
on YouTube who are watching.
Yeah.
Ludvig's routine.
Well, we can talk it through now. Dan, tell me if I'm not getting picked up on the.
All right.
Okay.
You've got the headphones on, right?
Yeah.
Can we still hear him? Okay. There's our down the line view.
Hey. Well, yeah, you're in the distance, but we can sort of hear you. So we'll fix it up as we go.
Yep.
What Nick O'Hearn teaches, and this is what I love about all of Nick's books and every single masterclass he does, he tries you to get you thinking over the ball just the right amount, in the zone, I reckon. So what I love what Ludvig does, he gets back here and he does these little bits and pieces, but he does this little rehearsal in his practice swing, he does this little move where he falls forward, and then he goes over and moves to the ball. He doesn't mess around. He has one look up, he kind of stands up, he comes down there, he does one little routine, and that is just for fields. That's just for fields. And then, instead of getting over the ball and thinking about what to do, he just copies his feels. So the feel of, you can see him hand on top, he's just trying to take the club back so it doesn't open up. You can see him doing that. That's his little feel. His other one is just a little move like that. Just a tiny little move like that. And then, instead of thinking when he's over the ball, He has one look at where he's going, and he copies his feelings. And it stops him from thinking. I mean,
it's brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's almost as good as that shot you just hit then as well. So
Did it go? Did it show
no,
up?
the simulator didn't show up, but that's okay. But the routine you're talking about, if you put a stopwatch from him from when he takes his first step from behind the ball to when he actually hits it, it will be exactly the same every single time. And I think the most impressive thing that I saw about him, especially on that final hole when he had to make birdie, was that second shot. I think he hit a 7-wood or a 5-wood, whatever. The 7-wood. It's a good club to have in the bag, by the way. The 7-wood.
7-wood's 21 degrees these days.
Is it?
And his is ticked back. So it's 21 degrees set at 20.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, anyway, he had a beautiful shot to the back edge. His first putt, he got it down around the hole. It wasn't the greatest putt, but it was serviceable.
Yeah.
And he had 6 feet 9 inches left for the win. Now
You would have been watching his routine.
I
like
watched
a
his
hawk.
routine like down to the millisecond, and it never ever wavered. Now the thing about Ludvig is his tempo. His overall tempo for his swing, his chipping, his putting is faster than normal. I'm actually going to do my masterclass on that a little bit later, so I'll talk more about Ludvig just because he's so fun to watch. And the thing about him is, it's hard to see him breaking down over a period of time. He's tall, he's strong, he's got this very economical swing.
He's the prototype, Nick.
Yeah.
He is.
How many top 10s do you think he's going to have by the end of the year? Because it's hard to win, we know that. But he's going to be a top 10 machine.
Yeah. Look, hopefully he has a Scotty Scheffler type year because he's the sort of player that's good for golf. I mean, he's.
Do you think he's going to win a major this year?
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to back him in every single major. As simple as that. I'm just going to keep on going. I think he's just got the game. And, I'm not sure. You saw him hit the 7-wood. Did you happen to see Tony Finau's 2-iron from about 30 yards behind him? So Tony Finau's one of the longest hitters you've ever seen.
Was he that far behind him?
Ludvig got him by 30 yards.
Wow.
On the last. Ludvig hit the longest and straightest drive of the day on that last hole. And then Finau got this 2-iron, he's got the graphite shaft.
He picks it up, drops it in.
That's a weird looking action, but it was a complete flush and it landed about 2 yards from the hole right on line.
It was a laser.
It was incredible. Hey, that's our 9th green.
We're there already. Okay.
I've got a top 5 coming up of players who will win a major this year for the first time.
Have we got party time?
Yeah, we do somewhere.
Looks good, man. Dude. Are we in slow motion, too?
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number one ball in golf is Titleist and the number one shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app, and Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's better. Now, back to Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick and Mark.
Okay, this week's top 5, we are doing players to look out for in 2025 who are going to win a major.
Oh, hang on, we haven't played the opener.
Okay, play the
Got to do that.
Okay.
Play the opener.
The Talk Birdie To Me Top 5, thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Top five.
By the way, Southern Golf Club, I was talking to Brad the other day, he said they've got a painting that they've done to mark their 75th anniversary to go in the members bar, 75 Years of Memories by Jamie Cooper. He's the bloke who did that one at Kingston Heath Park, which you would know.
It's beautiful. Have you got a picture of it?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Go and look it up.
Let me see if I can get it up. Have a look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Have a look at that.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Is that going to program or is that just going to us?
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, working on the program.
There it is.
There we go.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no,
Any kind of
wow.
history of the golf club,
Yeah, no,
very,
it is,
very good.
it is
That
good.
is good.
Very, very good. Okay, so players who haven't won a major yet, but are going to win a
going
major
to
this year.
this year.
That's right. There's only 4 majors, and this is a top 5. every one of these players is going to win a major this year.
That tells me something. Okay.
Well, it didn't make sense, but it will in a second, because there's more than 4 majors, and you know that.
Yes.
At number 5, Tommy Fleetwood, a complete flusher of the golf ball.
You think this is his year?
I think the British Open has got his name written all over it.
Royal County down?
Yeah, I'm not
Or
sure.
Port Rush? Port Rush.
Port Rush?
Is that right? Yeah.
Wherever it is, that's where we're going.
I think it is.
At number 4, this young lady, I think, has won 3 times in the last 5 months, something like that. A rising star of the game, Gino Titicol.
Ah, yeah, she just won on the weekend.
Just won again on the weekend.
21 years old.
We'll get to the Ping Global results very soon, Nick. Just sit down and relax. This is my time to shine. At
When is it
number
not?
3, Min Woo Lee. I've got a feeling US Open.
US
I
Open.
reckon he's a US Open winner,
Ooh,
Min Woo
okay.
Lee.
Big call.
At number 2, he's currently second on the FedEx Cup, Sepp Straka. Yeah, he's got a bit of Ludvig in him. He's got some ice running through his veins, and the way he swings the club.
He's got a PGA in him.
Yeah. It's almost a bit of a poor man's Marco Mira action, but I still like it, Sepp Straka. And at number 1, the kid from Texas Tech. I paved the way for him to succeed. Ludvig Aberg, without a doubt, will win a major this year, and he's going to win the Masters.
That's the only one left, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Sepp's going to win the PGA. I said that, the US PGA, and Ludwig will win the Masters.
Very good. I'm just looking up where everything is. Oakmont is US Open.
Yeah, well done,
So
Min
who
Woo.
did you say Min Woo is going to win at
Min Woo will
Oakmont?
win that one, yep.
Didn't we do the Church Pews last
I think we
last
did a
week?
little bit, yeah.
Port Rush is the Open.
Yeah.
Where's the PGA? PGA. Must be earlier in the year. I'm missing it.
Yeah, it's in May.
It's in May.
Yeah.
Of course, they shifted
change,
it.
They made
Yeah,
that
that's
change
right.
7 or 8 years
Quail
ago.
Hollow.
Nick.
Quail Hollow.
Quail Hollow.
There you go.
Ooh, there we
Okay.
go.
Yep.
That has got Sepp Straka.
JT
written all over
maybe.
it.
He won around there.
Yeah, that's right.
Or Rory.
And so did Rory.
Yeah, I know.
There's a few good players
Yeah,
won
anyway.
around there.
Now, guys, it's time for the Ping Global results. Now, before we get to it, an email's come in.
Okay.
Do we have a trumpet?
This is, well, maybe. This is from Anthony Bull. Remember the email last week? We got Anthony Bull, who plays the trumpet?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Marco and Nick, someone said you need a fanfare. I'm your man.
Oh, here we go.
So, what do you want to do about it? What do we
calling.
want to do?
Got to
Can we
get him
call
in.
him?
Well, not now, but you want to contact him through the week and we'll get him sorted? Because I
Yeah.
think we should get him in.
Oh, we've got to
Absolutely.
get the trumpeter in.
Yeah. You up for that?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right.
Brilliant.
Well done. Well done.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the Ping Global Results intro with no music. So, Nick, you need to kind of try and pump us up. with
Pump it
something.
up. Well, I can tell you, it is a big week because we had 3 Ping winners around the world. So the Ping Global
rubbish.
Results is really all about Ping this week. Started at LIV Adelaide with Ping's own Joaquín Niemann. Started the day 3 back of Abraham Answer, and ended up shooting a 7 under 65 for a 3-shot win over his Talk teammate Carlos Ortiz. And the fireball Abraham Answer, who actually bogeyed the last 2, unfortunately, also was back there. So the Patrick Reed ace on day 1 was a lot of fun. They threw everything at him. I wish they'd have thrown something a bit harder, not softer. But no, it was an incredible hole-in-one for him. On the team's event, the Fireballs had a 6-shot win over Legion 13. Talk were in 3rd. And unfortunately for Team Ripper, they were 20 shots back in 9th place. Individually, Mark Leishman tied for 21st, Cam Smith 30th, Lucas Herbert tied for 31st, and Matt Jones tied for 44th. Wade Ormsby was there again, playing for the Ironheads. He was in 50th.
He's played the last
position.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, so he's getting some cash in the
There's
bank.
a couple of 100,000 probably the last 2 weeks.
Plus, he got to play in front of his home.
On the reserve list.
Home fans, because he's a
that's
South
right.
Australian.
Yeah.
PGA Tour, Genesis at Torrey, hosted by Tiger, obviously. Ludvig Aberg, final round 66, birdied 4 of his last 6 to defeat Maverick McNeely. He was 9 under through 12, McNeely.
Yeah.
He was almost on a 59 watch for a little while.
Well,
but
I think one more birdie and he was.
Scotty Scheffler and Patrick Rogers tied for 3rd. Of the Aussies, Adam Scott tied 37th, Min Woo 48th, Jason Day tied for 50th. On the Ladies European Tour, they had the PIF Saudis Ladies International in Riyadh, where they just played the LIV event, actually under lights. So they played this same
Yep.
golf course, I
Yep.
believe, where Thai's own Gino Titikal had a 4-shot win over Simo Lee from Korea.
Yeah. She win the US ladies US Open too. by
It
the
is Titikal's 17th professional win, and she's
How old
only
is she?
21. So she's won 5 times in Europe, 4 times on the LPGA Tour. So impressive.
Star.
Of the Aussies, Hiran Naveed tied for 8th. Steph Kyriakou tied for 18th. You know what Titikal got for first prize?
300,000 US.
$650,000 US. That was impressive on the ladies' European Tour. This is one of their biggest events.
650,000 US on the LET.
On the LET. Annabelle Fuller, an English woman, she birdied her 3 of her last 4 holes to finish outright third, making 250,000.
Yeah.
And that's more than she made last year.
So just for
incredible.
scope, folks, I think the Australian Open winner and the Australian PGA winner, I think they both made about 300,000 Australian pesos.
There
so
you go.
we've got a little bit of ground to catch
We got a
up.
little bit. On the Hotel Planet Tour, I never get sick of saying that name. Formerly the Challenge Tour, they had the another event in South Africa where Ping's own Wilco Nienaber had a 7-shot win over his countryman Jean-Paul Stryden. New Zealand's Sam Jones tied for 3rd, so well done, Sam. Champions Tour, they were at the Chubb Classic in Naples, Florida, where Justin Leonard had a 4-shot winner over Billy Andrade. It's his first Champions Tour win for the 52-year-old, first since the 2008 FedEx Cup in Memphis. Of the Aussies, Richard Green tied for 4th, and Cam Percy and Michael Wright tied for 12th. They were the best of. And the Legends Tour in Marbella, Spain, which is the over 50s in Europe. Ping's own again, Simon Griffiths had a 2-shot win over Scott Hend. He's a world traveller, that Scott Hend, isn't he? He goes everywhere.
Who's the other bloke? I've never heard of him before in my life.
Simon Griffiths?
Have you?
Yeah,
much about him?
I didn't know much
I've
about him on
never
the
heard
tour,
never heard his name before in my
but
life.
it's his second win in 4 starts on the Legends Tour. So
I should have.
at the moment, they've got the TGL going on, but as always, we're recording it while it's happening. So we'll give you those results next week.
How are you going with the TGL? You watching it?
Little bit. I'm doing the minis.
I'm watching the minis
Yeah,
too.
the
Yeah,
minis.
the long ones, it's on, but I couldn't care less. But the minis seem to be something.
I think
half decent.
Min Woo's playing at the moment.
Is he?
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see
It was
how
a
he
triple
goes.
header too, wasn't it?
It is three events, 3
Well,
matches in the one night.
If you want to get in contact with us via our socials and you're enjoying or you're not liking the TGLs, let us know. In fact, anything you like, make a comment, leave some feedback, make a statement. Just go to talkbirdietome.com.au, scroll down a little bit, push the button, and away you go.
Getting good at that.
All right, boys, ready for this? Ready for a bit of feedback to hear what people think of the show?
Sure.
Okay.
Only if it's good.
Well,
Any wax?
well, maybe. Let's find out.
Okay.
Firstly, David Huxley. Hey, lads, enjoy the show. I wanted to weigh in on the handicap debate. I believe it is your GA, not the course handicap in single digits starting at 9.0. So if I'm a 0.4, I can't say I'm scratched because I'm not. 9.4.
Yeah.
In addition, if you're telling people the decimal point, I reckon you're the kind of person who calls their 3-year-old 36 months old. If you want to be a single-figure golfer, go and get there.
You know, I've softened on this. I've softened.
You have?
If you rock up on the first tee and you get your card or you log into your phone, if it says you're playing off 9, you're a single figure.
You're a single-figure handicapper.
You're a single figure golfer.
Fair call.
I think it's done.
Just play the easiest courses you can.
Yeah, that's right. You might actually, your GA might be 13, but you're playing Albert Park and I'm playing off 9.
Yeah, and you're off the
Simple
forward
as that.
tees.
You're off the forward tees.
You might be off
Doesn't
6.
matter. You're a single figure golfer. Hey, just on that, someone said to me the other day, what level golf do you have to be considered a black belt at golf?
Ooh.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So it's
a
little
black
bit-
belt.
You're a black belt at golf, so it's
Okay.
a little bit better than single figures.
Yep.
I reckon if you shoot under par even once in your life, you're a black belt. Because I think you got grandmasters and all that kind of stuff afterwards, which is,
Yeah.
you and Bradley Hughes, who we're going to be talking to a little bit later in the week. And those guys are grandmasters. But just to be a black belt,
Yeah.
remembering 12-year-olds can be a black belt.
Sure.
What level of golfer do you have to be to consider yourself a black belt golfer?
Scratch or better, I'd say.
Scratch or better.
Yeah.
Righto.
Off a plus.
Off a plus.
Off a plus,
Off
I
a
think.
plus,
yeah.
you're a black belt.
What is that? Plus 0.4? 5 or better.
Yeah.
Not plus
I would have said,
0.4.
I would have said off 2 or 3.
No.
I would have called you a black belt.
No, I don't think so.
All right, next question here. This comes from Peter Humphrey. Hi, guys. Nick, when you visit Mount Lawley, which you did at the weekend,
I did.
Could you please have a look at it and review it from several different perspectives? So I play golf in WA, and I've heard a few people say the green complexes have been made too hard for the average club golfer, particularly the senior club golfer.
Yep.
In other words, they're great for better golfers and really good ones, but they're a little too challenging for the average player, and I think it spoils the fun of the game. I'd be really keen to hear the opinion of somebody with your knowledge of the game and of golf courses around the world. Thanks, Peter.
Well, one of the biggest complaints I heard was from my mother, who said the third green, that was just horrible, it's no good. And I played the third, and I thought, this could be the best green on the golf course. It has a big swale, a big dip in the middle, which I understand for someone who's a high handicapper, and she's off 36, so she gets 2 shots a hole. Could have some issues, but it's only one green. I thought the rest of them were very fair. It's the 12th now because I keep getting them mixed up because they've changed the 9s. The other green, which I thought was one of the best greens on the course, is now the 10th, the old first. No bunkers. It's a bit of an upside-down saucer. They may need to add a little bit to the back of that, I think. It might be the drop-off might be a bit severe, but overall I thought every green was very playable for everyone, whatever level you are, and it gives you the opportunity to run the ball onto most of the greens as well. So I would say whoever's struggling from a higher handicap or a senior golfer just needed to work on their putting practice a bit more, that's all.
It's half the fun. It's half the fun.
Absolutely.
It's half the fun, a tough green.
Now, a question from Jared. Are you guys still getting Bradley Hughes on the pod?
I don't know. What do you reckon? Should we get him on?
Should we?
I would love to. I would love to. And the reason I would love to, he was my hero as a kid. When I was a kid, Bradley Hughes was a little bit older than me, and I'll never forget the day I saw him at Metropolitan Golf Club. He was playing in the Victorian Open as a 14-year-old.
Really?
Wow. I must have only been about 11.
Goodness, yeah.
And I was out watching the golfers, and I saw him behind the net, and I thought, bloody hell, he's come out to watch golf. And he was playing in the tournament. I didn't understand it. But I cannot wait to talk to Hugo.
Didn't you play with him final round at the Masters when he won?
I played with him in the final round of the first Australian Masters that he won.
Yep.
Now, I reckon he shot 7 under, no bogeys. And it was the day that I played pretty well as well. No, there wasn't a bogey between us that day.
How much camera time did you get?
I got a little bit. I got a little bit of camera time.
All right, message from Matt Butler here. Hey guys, my name is Matt from Clare in regional South Australia, and I'm involved in a volunteer capacity at our local golf club. I listened to the pod with Michael Medway last week, and I've recently calculated our club's fees to Golf Australia to be about 15 grand a year. And it made me ask, what exactly do we and other small regional clubs get for that fee? And the answer, from my perspective when I think about it, is, aside from access to IT systems, not much. Yeah. When you're trying to run a small regional golf club, mainly relying on the generosity of time by volunteers, you have to make every dollar count. And I would like to ask Golf Australia, how are you making that $15,000 from us count? Keep up the good work. Pod's great, but how about more regional stories and promotion?
I think a little bit of that is insurance, which is a very big part of everything that goes on. I'm not sure whether Golf Australia are part of the insurance or whether that's the golf club's job. I'm not sure, but I think one of the reasons you pay that money is for insurance. Also the handicapping, making sure that everyone's handicapped correctly. I don't know. That's what Golf Australia, I think, will tell you. But we need to get James on so we can get him to answer these questions for us.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, I spoke to my brother last week, who's the general manager of Mount Lawley, and asked a little bit of a similar question. I said, what is the deal with Golf Australia? How do they help you? And he said, well, we pay them an annual fee, like you were saying, that 15 grand. It's actually quite a bit more for private clubs, for example, in Perth. I guess to Golf WA or now Golf Australia under the one umbrella. And he said they help out with pennant, the pennant golf. But other than that, he said, we don't get a lot else for our money. So it'll be interesting to talk to James about that.
Put it on the list when James Sutherland comes in. I spoke to Josh Martin and he said he'd make it happen. So hopefully, James, we'll see you in here at Titleist FootJoy headquarters very, very soon.
Now, we had a voicemail last week, so you might want your headphones on. I might play you a bit of audio here from Mark at the National. Now, Mark was inquiring, well, he asked you a question. Basically, it was about slow play. So we had a couple of responses. So let's have a listen again to what Mark said, and then we'll get your views on what he's asked.
Okay, boys, Mark here from the National. Slow play's a hot topic at the moment. So I'm a mid-single-digit player and love to get on with it. Nothing worse than being stuck in a group with players who really dick around. For example, lining up a 2-foot putt for an 8-for-1 or having 10 practice swings, only hit it 5 metres, then repin the flag and do it all over again, spending time on the devices and God knows what they're doing on there. Anyway, I'd just love to hear what you have any thoughts or tips on how to hurry up slow players without being too rude. Love the pod. Cheers.
8-for-1, that's a blast from the past. Someone having a...
Eight for a one.
8-for-1.
Hey, my mum had a 2-for-5 the other day.
Did she?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's not too bad. All right, so how do you politely get the group in front to scoot up? I know all about impolite. Just standing there with the hands on the hips, very, very close to them is a winner there. Look, I don't think there's a way you can do it. I think you've actually got to get the club to enforce it more. I think it's one of those situations where you finish your round, you say, hey, listen, the blokes in front were hopeless. They were absolutely hopeless. Would you mind, giving them a hurry up next Sunday when they regularly play? I don't think it's up to members to do it. I think that ends up being a YouTube clip when one member starts talking to another member. Ends up being a big punch on.
Do they have course ranges at Kingston Heath, for example?
Every once in a while.
Yeah, because I think that's a way to do it, is if you can get someone who, maybe it's a volunteer at the club or something, to drive around in a golf cart, and that way that you can check on people. I used to do it when I was working at public courses back in Perth, Marangaroo and Carramar. We'd ride around on a motorbike, 4-wheeler obviously, and
the quad bike.
Yeah, the old quad bike, and people would say, hey, this group in front's a bit slow, so you'd go up and you'd remind them, can I speed up? And that was a good way to do it. So I think having a course marshal certainly works.
Maybe even calling the pro shop. You got me thinking now. Yeah. Maybe just get your phone out, call the pro shop and say, listen, I'm on the 12th. And so's the slowest group in Australia. Yeah. Can you come out here and move them on, please? That might work.
Well, there was a comment from Daniel who said, unfortunately for Mark, not you, this is the Mark who left the message, there's not much you can do unless the club officials bring up speed of play. You can only be frustrated. I have tried, and there's no subtle way to point out that bloke is a turtle. Once you do point it out, they normally go slow because they know it pisses you off. That's probably a reasonable position. Well, look, last bit of feedback here. This is actually on LIV and what happened in Adelaide. Eric has said, isn't it fantastic to hear that part of the LIV re-signing with South Australia, geez, how was Sam Gross timing, huh? The day before he said, we're going to try and get it. And the day later, Adelaide signed.
He made the trip. He made the Victorian Sports Minister, Sam Groth, ex-tennis player, fastest serve in the world, 272 kilometres an hour. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
What?
Incredible.
272. He's got the world record. It's got the world record.
Incredible.
He went over there to try and pinch it, and I think
didn't happen.
I think he turned up in the golf course and they were celebrating the signing of 2031.
So taxpayers' money well spent on the flight.
That's right.
It's good they're staying in Adelaide, though. I think it should.
Yeah, of course it should.
Absolutely should.
Of course it should.
It's a wonderful event for Adelaide. Eric has said, isn't it great to hear, though, that part of this is going to be investing in the North Adelaide public course, what you were talking about before, where every other state seems to be closing courses down, which is a very fair point.
The Shark will do a good job there too. You watch.
So that's the feedback, which means now it's time for the masterclass.
Right,
it is. Which, hang on, let me figure this out. Here we go. Here we go. Figuring our way through it.
Okay.
Golf has many ways of measuring ability and performance. But at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. And that's where Watch My Numbers can really help.
Okay, for the Watch My Numbers app, which you can download from Google Play or the App Store, it is time for the masterclass. All right, what do you got?
Are you getting up? You're going to have a crack out there?
Yeah, my turn this week. So let me grab my putter.
Ooh.
And it's to do with your favourite player, Ludvig
Aberg.
Aberg. And really, you were talking earlier about his pre-shot routine and everything. Well, I want to talk about his tempo. Now, his tempo to his golf swing is fast. Has a very fast motion. But he also does that with chipping, bunkers and putting. So let me just go over here and explain a couple of things.
So when you say fast, it's not what your average golfer would consider, quick, is it? It's just quicker than normal. It's not a fast. It's just it's just a little bit quicker than normal.
All right. So we've got the. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
A bit of a go. All right. Get that
The audio is not quite right for this week, but we'll fix that for next time.
Fix that next time. Yeah. So if you watch Ludvig's golf swing and everything, well, his tempo is quite fast. Now he's fast on the way back, fast on the way through. Nick Price was another one, very much of the faster tempo as well. Slower tempos with the golf swing, where it's more the slower backswing. So someone takes a very slow backswing and then comes through a little bit faster. So that would be more like a Cameron Young, I guess, in that sense. Now, if we're talking in putting terms, well, if you've watched the WebEx Players Series last year, it would have been Kazuma Kabori, where he had a very slow tempo with his putting stroke. So it's going to be very long and nice and smooth. Now, on the PGA Tour, the average speed of a putting stroke, or the tempo of a putting stroke, is somewhere between 70 to 80 beats per minute. So if you have a metronome, that's always a good way to sort of get a gauge of that. And what you want to do on the beat is, as you take your stroke back and then hit the ball, you want to hit it on the beat. So match the beat back and through, 70 to 80 beats a minute. And that might look something like this. Sort of a nice, smooth stroke there. Now with Ludvig, and what he did on the 18th hole, Ludvig has a slightly upbeat tempo, I guess is what I would say. So his stroke might be more the 80 to 85 beats per minute, something like that, where he's just a little bit quicker back and through. Well, what that does is it matches his backswing and his follow through, but his stroke and his tempo and his speed of everything is very much the same. So figure out what your tempo is. Is it a slower tempo or is it a faster tempo? And that's really where you want to have your putting stroke. So if it's going to be a faster tempo, it's going to be a shorter stroke. If it's a slower tempo, it's going to be a longer stroke. But what you want to do is the same thing every time. And if you watched Ludvig on that 18th hole at Torrey Pines, his tempo never changed.
Hey, Nicholas, while you're up there, are you using the shoulders, no matter whether it's a slow or a faster tempo?
Absolutely. It's more the upper body, just taking it back and through, the arms and the shoulders, having the Y shape. I think we got Elvis Smiley a while back to do that masterclass, where this Y formed with the shaft and the two arms, everything just moving back and forth. Now, if you're a wristy putter, well, that does make it probably a little bit on the quicker side, but I wouldn't recommend using the wrists when you are putting. It's more the upper body just swinging back and through. One thing we don't want to do, obviously, is sway, and we don't want to lift up and out of the putt, but they're separate masterclasses altogether at this stage.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that was Ludvig.
Oh, very nice.
Okay, very, very good. Now, we've got a couple of pods coming out after this one too, Dan, don't we? We've got James Watson, who's the Vice President of Production at LIV Golf. So I'm looking forward to having the word to James. It's going to be a little bit later, but make sure you look out for this bloke. His name is Bradley Hughes. I put a little bit of tape together for you, put some edits together. Spoiler alert, you might see me just a little bit in there. I couldn't get me out.
Middle name, Flusher.
A complete flusher, an acceleration machine. He was always a joy to play with because he had this long, languid kind of swing that made you, cruise around the golf course. He was always good fun, and I cannot wait to have a chat to this man. Yeah. Put him on the screen. Put him on. All right. There we go.
And he's a heck of a coach these days too.
He's one of the best coaches in America at the moment, having true success. Anyway, have a good look at Bradley Hughes here, winning on the way to winning the '93 Australian Masters.
Biggest holes in Brad Hughes' life. Looks pretty competent. Tremendous drive. Second shot coming into 18. He's got a very good
But have
drive.
a look at this shot. This is truly the greatest shot I've ever seen in my life. 3-iron into the wind.
Oh,
looking good.
How's the camera view, by the way?
Oh, what a shot.
That's the cherry picker.
Yeah, the cherry picker.
What a shot.
Look at that. Now, at this point, I've got goosebumps.
There you are.
There I am.
There you are.
I was about to hit that shot into the scoreboard.
Who's that young bloke?
Right.
Rather short birdie.
But I had
magnificent
goosebumps.
Shot in.
The noise was like a grand final. Someone just kicked the goal.
I need 6 or 7 under par to put some pressure on
I
Peter
reckon he might have been a little bit nervy.
It's another
here.
thing to
Got
do
the
it.
long
And this
putter.
fella's
Looks like
gone
a
out and done
B90.
it today. Terrific effort.
Yeah, it was one of the first.
There's one I
This for
used.
3.
One of the first. Now, this put him within one of
This
Pete
to get him
Senior.
within one of Senior.
And Pete Senior 3-putted the 72nd, and Bradley Hughes went on to win in a playoff. Have a look at that shirt, by the way. That's the loudmouth gear before loudmouth came out. Look at the crowds back in the day, the Australian Masters.
Look at that hair on Mark Allen.
Yes.
You had a lot more hair then.
Yeah, thanks. Good on you. All right, guys.
Now, by the way, if you were hearing that on the podcast and thinking, "Oh, I can't see the vision," you can see that vision on YouTube. It will be up tonight.
Will it be up tonight, will it?
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll put it up tonight. Yeah.
So there's just Talk Birdie To Me, our YouTube channel.
Yeah, you go to YouTube. It'll be on there. We'll work it on the socials as well, so you won't be able to miss it.
See you next time, guys. And well done. I think it was unclunky.
First one.
Or as unclunky as possible. Anyway.
Well, I think it was probably a little clunky, but that's okay. We got there.
And that's been Talk Birdie To Me, Australia's most popular golf podcast, with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.
With more speed off the tee. More control with your irons. More spin with your wedges. Introducing the all-new Pro V1 and Pro V1X.